Hi everyone. Biodiversity or biological diversity is the species richness on the earth. It can also defined as the sum total of all life on earth, or you can also say the variety of life found in a place on earth, or often the total variety of life on earth. All the life around us is of extreme importance, not in our lives, for the mutual existence of other species too that is present on the earth. Besides, the biodiversity plays a very crucial role in working of this entire ecosystem and also helps in balancing this ecosystem. This biological diversity or this biological wealth of the earth is the result of biodiversity developed of about 400 million years. Usually, extinction, the elimination process of species, is a normal process. Naturally, species die out and are replaced by others. Often they are replaced by their own descendants as a part of evolutionary change. This is a very common process. In undisturbed ecosystem, the rate of extinction is very, very slow, and we can say it is about 1 to 2 species lost every decade. But the last century, you can say in the last century, and it is now continuing to, the human impact on populations and ecosystems have accelerated this rate of biological diversity loss. Possibly, it is causing thousands of species, subspecies, and varieties to become extinct every minute, every day, every year. This constant loss of this biological wealth has posed a serious threat to the very existing existence of human itself. Today, we are going to study about what are the threats for this loss of biodiversity, or what are the reasons for the loss of this biodiversity, and how can we conserve this loss of biodiversity, and how can we protect this biodiversity. Today we are going to study about these two aspects. Biodiversity, it is the sum total of life on on the earth. It is the sum total of all life on earth. You can also say it is the totality of genes, species, and ecosystems of this region at large on the earth. It is estimated that current rate of species extinction is between 1,000 and 10,000 times more rapid than the average rate during the last several billion years. Some studies suggest that globally, as many as one half of all mammal and bird species may become extinct within 100 or 150 years. The different factors or the different reasons, you can also say the different threats, uh, uh, the biodiversity is experiencing, or the different factors threatening our plants' biodiversity, are as follows. The first one is habitat destruction. Uh, Next one is habitat fragmentation, poaching and hunting, introduction of exotic species, or you can say it is not invasion of exotic species or introduction of exotic species, over exploitation of resources, pollution, different types of pollutions, control of pests and predators, while agriculture or farm adopted during farming methods, global warming and climate change, natural calamities, and other factors, they pose threat to the loss of biodiversity. Now, we will study about them one after the other. The main reason for biodiversity loss is habitat destruction. The first reason is habitat destruction. The habitat destruction, the habitat loss, as I have told you, It is the one of the biggest threats to biodiversity. It is the number one, you can say, number one reason for species to go extinct. And the biggest threat to biodiversity loss is destruction or elimination of habitat, whether it is a forest or a coral reef or a grassland or flowing river, which resulted due to the large industrial and commercial activities associated with agriculture, aquaculture, irrigation, construction of dams, mining, fishing, etc. Whatever may be the reason, the habitat uh, uh, where the biodiversity, the species lives, get destructed in the name of human activities, in the name of human development. We'll see many acres of forests or get destructed or destroyed in order for um, to develop colonies or residential colonies or to construct factories or for mining activities too. So this is the major one, you can say, the first and foremost or biggest threat for the mm, uh, ha- uh, biodiversity loss. Deforestation, uh, as it is the major cause of extinction of species, it has occurred in every part of the world. You take it Amazon river forests or in our own India also, whatever the forest cover is there, it is destructed in the name of development. Okay. Uh, the the result says or the statistics shows that an estimated of 18 million acres of forest is lost each year for various human activities or anthropogenic uses, destroying the ecosystem on which many species depend. Next, the second most important feature is habitat. If you look at this picture, just see, this is the pictures taken over the period of 15 years, 15 to 17 years. This is a picture of Rajendra Nagar area in Hyderabad. This is a period of 15 to 17 years. Once in 2002, the Rajendra Nagar area is like this. Slowly, in the name of constructions and developmental activities, now it has become like this. So this is this is a very big example for habitat destruction. Now moving on to the next um, threat is habitat fragmentation. It is also an interesting feature, but at the same time, it is causing very um, huge destruction or huge loss to biodiversity. Habitat fragmentation is described as a habitat that is broken into smaller discontinuous segments of land for development. These are just look at these pictures. See, with increased populations, the habitats are fragmented into pieces. So look at this is a big forest once, and it's a still forest, but if you look at here, these are fragmented. In the name of development, like for construction of roads or for construction of dams or for agricultural activity or whatever this thing, the forests or the lands are fragmented. Okay, though it is not like we can say it is, but by fragmentation, habitats areas may not be completely destroyed, but it still causes environmental chaos. Fragmentation, because they separate by fragmenting uh, a forest or an area, uh, this can separate animals from one another and from their food sources. For example, cats like lions or tigers or cheetahs, the members of cat family, they will have a marking. they have territories, they build territories, and they don't cross their territories. Within those territories, they will try to find their food, they will breed, and they'll propagate. So if you fragment these the land they are existing, that will hinder their very existence. The fragmentation happens not only on land but also in water. In beneath the water, structures such as dams or bridges tend to isolate species. That means they separate species from one another, making it more difficult for them to mate or more difficult them to find food. For the many animals that depend on migration to preserve their species, this fragmentation takes away these advantages. So, in addition to habitat fragmentation, uh, this fragmentation also brings about microclimate changes like the temperature, light, and wind, etc. So, this is another kind of, or this is the second major threat for biodiversity loss.